Harvard professor says all hell broke loose when his study found no racial bias in police shooting. What? This is Roland Fryer. So a Harvard professor said that all hell break loose. I read this already. During a sit-down conversation with Barry Weiss of Free Press, Harvard economics professor Roland Fryer discussed the fallout from a 2016 study he published on racial bias in Houston policing. The study found that police were more than twice as likely to manhandle, beat, or use some other kind of non-fatal force against blacks and Hispanics than against people of other races. However, the data also determined that officers were 23.8% less likely to shoot blacks and 8.5% less likely to shoot Hispanics than they were to shoot whites.
Wait a minute. What? That means the narrative.
Can you please play, show his face, let the audience see his face. There you go. Can you please play the clip, Rob? That ties a little bit interesting, but can you please play the clip? Play this clip here. Go for it. Listen up, everybody.
I had colleagues take me to the side and say, don't publish this. You'll ruin your career. I said, what are you talking about? I said, what's wrong with it? Do you believe the first part? Yes. Do you believe the second part? Well, the issue is they just don't fit together. We like the first one, but you should publish the second one another time. We collected millions of observations on everyday use of force that wasn't lethal. We collected thousands of observations on lethal force. And it was in this moment in 2016 that I realized people lose their minds when they don't like the result. So what my paper showed, you'll see tomorrow, like some of you, was that, yes, we saw some bias in the low-level uses of force, every day pushing up against cars and things like that. People seem to like that result. But we didn't find any racial bias in police shootings. Now, that was really surprising to me because I expected to see it. The little-known fact is I had 8 full-time RAs that it took to do this over nearly a year. When I found this surprising result, I hired 8 fresh ones and redid it.
Wow.
To make sure.
For a year.
Double checking the work, QC.
And I thought it was robust. And I went to go give it, and my God, all hell broke loose. It was a 104-page, dense, academic economics paper with a 150-page appendix, okay?
Holy moly.
It was posted for 4 minutes when I got my first email. This is full of shit. Doesn't make any sense. And I wrote back, how'd you read it that fast? That's amazing.
Neuralink.
You are a genius. I lived under police protection for about 30 or 40 days. I had a 7-day-old daughter at the time. I remember going and shopping for it because, you know, when you have a newborn, you think you have enough diapers, you don't. So I was going to the grocery store to get diapers with an armed guard. It was crazy. It was really, truly crazy.
Wow.
This is a
Wow.
Mind you, this isn't just an average guy that hired a bunch of people. This is a Harvard professor, guys. This guy is freaking brilliant. Hired all these people. Well, you know what that says to me? That, because think about it, he told other colleagues, and for them to say, don't put that out, that is 100%. They don't want to destroy the narrative of keeping us dividing and conquering us. Because think about it. You know what that means? All that BLM, all that defund the police, all that BS, it was pointless. Because come to find out, cops that are messed up shoot everybody. It's like almost equally everybody's getting the same thing. Yes, I guess because this was in Houston, right? Rob, there's in Houston, people were getting pushed up against cars and okay, but I mean Houston, I don't know what the African American compared to Hispanic to white population is. I've been to Houston, it's pretty freaking wild in Houston, but I love what he did. I'm very pissed off. I know he's not going to say the names of the people that are saying, why would you put the report out? Why? Like, we're supposed to stay like this. We're supposed to stay where these guys are evil, the cops are wrong, and we're the victims. I think I'm proud of him, but I wish we find out who these people were to hold them accountable for their negative.
And by the way, just so everybody knows, this guy, He is a fellow at American Academy in Arts and Science and recipient of the Calvo Armengol Prize and the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers. At age 30, check this out, He became the youngest African American to receive tenure at Harvard.
What?
At age 30, he received tenure. Tom.
So there's two things here. I'm not surprised by this. I'm just surprised that it's taken this long to get out, because the narrative is allergic to facts, and they will find in their allergic reaction there's no Claritin for truth. And that's what they have to live with. And that's what this is. And they're trying, you have to remember, take a look at the signs outside the Supreme Court right now. The signs outside the Supreme Court are saying, remove Trump from ballot, like they're lobbying the court. But the court is looking for truth and the assessment of the laws, and he's going to be on the Colorado ballot because there's no basis. But the narrative wants political will to determine outcome. And if they want facts that back up that will, and they don't get it. So I'll go back to my point so you can write it down again. The narrative is allergic to facts, and when they start breaking out in hives, they find that there's no Claritin for truth, and they hate it. And that's what they tried to do to this guy, the youngest tenured fellow in Harvard history.
African American. Yeah.
This is the definition of facts don't care about your feelings. Talked about facts. They asked him multiple times, don't do this, man. This is going to ruin everything we're working on.
Yep.
This is going to ruin our entire narrative, or this is going to ruin our entire story. Please don't tell the truth.
Wow.
And what did he do?
He told the truth.
I'm going to double fact check this.
Yep.
I'm going to hire another research team. I'm going to go double out of my way to prove my point that this is the actual reality of this. Now, here's where I'm going to catch some heat from the comment section, especially from the Hamas Brigade. I said about a month ago that BLM is the equivalent of Gaza. What does that mean? What does that mean? Because every weekend, nobody wants to talk about it. Black on black crime in Baltimore, in DC, in Philadelphia, in all these big blue cities, Chicago especially, people are murdered every day of the year. No one bats an eye. Hey,
Children, it's kids too.
it's kids, it's people, it's women, it's children. Nobody says anything. No big deal. Let one stupid white cop kill a black guy. All hell breaks loose. People lose their minds. It's part of their narrative. Right here, Chicago homicides in 2024, 49 people slain. Here's how that compares with previous years. Okay,
And by the way, we're in
you
February.
can find a million different articles like this.
Yeah.
But black people, love you. That's what you need to be talking about. That's what you need to be talking about. It's so easy to be like, but this one cop right here, the George Floyd situation. Now, where am I going with this? I sent you an article, by the way. The biggest victims of terrorism and death and warmongering are Muslims being killed by other Muslims. Here we go. Read the top of the article, Rob.
BJ's.
Muslims, absolutely the group most victimized by global terrorism. Monday's terrorist attack targeting Muslims in London is just one of them. Now, when I say terrorism, you tell me what comes to mind. But that's not the narrative. We don't want to talk about Bashar al-Assad killing millions of people in Syria. We don't want to talk about the war in Yemen that's been going on for 10 years with the Houthi rebels. A decade. All of a sudden, Houthi, it's a new term because they're jacking ships in the Red Sea out there. But we've been talking about this for 10 years, low key. You don't want to talk about Boko Haram. You don't want to talk about these terrorist organizations. But God forbid October 7th shows up and Israel tries to defeat Hamas. It's Israel. Israel is the cop and BLM is Hamas. I'll let you do the math from there.
Pat, what do you think?
I think the great thing about data is data never lies. Mm-hmm. You can hate people as much as you want. You can't hate numbers. Numbers are not going to sit there and be like, well, we think you're an idiot. Numbers don't do that. Numbers just tell you, here's what's going on. Officers were 23.8% less likely to shoot at blacks, 8.5% less likely to shoot at Hispanics than they were to shoot at whites. So let me give you a visual. Cop looks, he's white. I'm not going to get arrested. Bam. Cop looks, he's black. Shit, I'm not going to shoot. Get down, dude. Just don't make me do this to you. Get down. Yep. That's what that means.
1 in 4 times he doesn't.
Yeah, that's the visual. Because he's like, I'm not going to lose my job for shooting a white guy, but I could lose my job for shooting a black guy and a Hispanic guy. That's what that data gives the visual to a cop who is sitting there thinking about, I got 2 kids at the house, a wife and a mortgage payment. Dude, you're not going to do this, okay? Because you could lose the money that you got, and you got an argument with your wife, et cetera, et cetera. Numbers don't lie. And good for him for doing this. And good for Barry Weiss for conducting the interview 2 years after he came out with this report where he can't go anywhere. He's got a 7-day-old baby trying to go buy diapers, and he has to go with a cop because he's worried something could happen to him. The youngest African-American tenure professor at Harvard.
Yeah.
What else can you do outside of that?
Opinion,
in
Pat,
history.
In your opinion, he talked about how he couldn't leave his house. Who do you think is going after him?
Obviously, that's what
Who do
I'm
you
saying.
think it is?
How ironic is it that a black professor had to get a cop, probably a white cop, to protect him from other African Americans that want to kill him?
Because it might not even be African Americans. You want to see hypocrisy at its finest. It might be the whitest of whitest liberals saying, you're racist.
Yeah.
How dare you?
That's what it is.
I'm not even worried about the black people.
No,
'Cause
that's
black
what
people
it
know.
is.
It's the white people,
But
the victim.
Look, you know what
they're
you
like,
just,
you're racist.
you know what idea you just gave
but
me,
he's
Rob?
that guy.
Can you do me a favor, Rob? Pull up
Yeah,
the
I
clip.
agree.
Pull up the clip by Bill Maher. I texted you this morning. Watch this clip here. This kind of validates what you're talking about. So watch this. Here's Bill Maher. This is a week ago. Go ahead and play this, Rob.
Now enjoy this fun photo collage of some of your favorite stars and politicians who speak about the need to reduce our carbon footprint, but who are always on private planes. That's right, all of them.
Bernie Sanders. All of
If
them.
you don't see a celebrity's picture here,
Watch
it's
this.
because we weren't allowed to use it. Or their series got canceled. But all the environmentalists of Hollywood and Washington do it. Their position on climate change is, we must do more to stop pouring carbon into the air, except for me when I want to go somewhere and then I take a private jet.
Yeah, so that kind of is going back to the liberal white women. It's like, how dare you write, or you don't know how blacks being treated. Yeah, no. Okay, but data is a beautiful thing.
Please tell me you saw that story. Rob, if you can pull this up, I'll give you major points. It was a white guy, the most liberal white guy in the world, on a job interview on a Zoom. Did you see this?
No, please, go ahead.
And he was being interviewed by a Latin guy, a black lady. They're all on a Zoom interviewing this person. And he says, you have to find this, Rob. He says, what do you guys do as a company for Black History Month? And they're like, well, you know, it's Black History Month. It's our, I don't know if it's
Just happy Black History Month.
He starts grilling the guy. Who's your favorite black inventor? Who's your favorite black scientist? The guy's like, what are you doing right now? Okay, you're on a job interview and you're grilling me. He's like, I won't work for a company that doesn't. You can't even name a black scientist. To a Latin guy and a black lady, and the black lady just kept giving like,
oh my God,
Rob, I don't know if you can find this guy. It's like if you
So
if you
it's
could
the
put up like
interviewee was doing
the
this?
interviewee, and then the guy goes, guy, I don't know if you know how job interviews work, but you're not grilling us.
Yeah. Holy
this
shit.
isn't helping you get the job. It's either on TikTok or Instagram.
That's hilarious.
So
does he get
Needless
the
to-
job?
But it was a
Classic.
white guy basically trying
God.
to use his white guilt and white shame to indoctrinate this company to his beliefs of what they think they should do for Black History Month.
I'm sure, Tom, you want to add something to this, but I tell you one thing, Rob. For me, I prefer this job interview video.
God.
This is the one I prefer that I think is way more educational. And this thing's got 27 million views. And this is how you should do job interviews. If we can find this, Rob, and pull this up, I think it's always good. They say it's healthy for us to laugh a little bit, right?
So this is a
Rob, if you can pull this up, just you got to show this. You guys have to. This is how. If I was 14 years old today, and YouTube is like we're growing up and we're 14 years old, I would do something like this. You have to see this job interview. This guy's got to get some kind of credit for keeping a straight face. And go ahead, Rob. Again,
and
like
this is real.
Watch this.
Okay.
To work overtime?
I don't usually mind overtime. It's like,
I don't recommend you drive while we do this.
oh no, I'm not. I'm parked up now.
Thanks for tuning in to Chef Popeyes. My name is Diane Coffee, and I'm to come with today.
May I have a fish sandwich, please? No.
Watch this. Watch.
Okay. Are you available able to work weekends?
Yes.
Fish sandwich?
Fish sandwich, please. Saturday and Sunday.
Anything else?
Just one fish sandwich. That'll be all.
$4.80, please, per round. Thank you.
Thank you.
Look at her face.
Saturday and Sunday is perfect.
Killing it. Watch.
You know I can see you. I know you're ordering food, but on this interview.
No, I'm not. I'm parked up. I'm in my car right now.
I can see that you're ordering a fish sandwich at McDonald's while you're doing this interview with me.
No, I'm not ordering anything. If I was, I'd be at Popeyes, but
I heard you ask for a fish sandwich.
He's actually
He looks like Balky Baltaco.
no, I'll do the interview. Yeah, I wasn't ordering food. If I was, I already ordered it, but I didn't.
He's hilarious.
Do you have any questions for me?
Yes. Do you have any ketchup? I mean, like, how soon would
You can stop it. I mean,
Bro,
this is the
that
best way.
So, no.
By the way, he's got a bunch of these that he does. He literally, his entire spoof is going doing job interviews and
over
messing
Zoom.
with the interview.
That is so brilliant. Any questions? Yeah, ketchup?
Yeah. Anyways, okay. Go ahead, Tom.
The parting shot here is Bill Maher is correct. And the father of all this hypocrisy was a guy that wrote a book called, An Infected Tooth. No. It was An Inconvenient Truth. And it was Al Gore, who at the time was flying at taxpayer expense on a 707. The single most polluting private jet you could buy. By the way, statistically, it was, Pat. It was the single most polluting. It was an old 707 that he flew on. That was there. And then you find people like Lewis Hamilton. And Rob, you could find Lewis Hamilton sells private jet. And Lewis said, I'm going to be serious about my carbon footprint. I'm selling my private jet. And I will fly in... he's flying in elite class on Emirates Air and things like that. But he's like, that's a smaller carbon footprint. There it is. There's the red one. He had spent like 3 years decking this out. Look at that jet. That's a nice jet, Pat. He had spent all this time.
Is he selling it?
Oh.
He sold it. It's gone.
Who bought it?
I don't know who bought it, but Lewis Hamilton
Al Gore,
sold
or
it.
like who?
No. The point is, Lewis Hamilton said, look, my carbon footprint will be less on commercial. Yes, I'm going to fly elite class on Emirates and things like that, but my carbon footprint is lower, and that's how I'm going to do it. And so that is an example of a celebrity that actually did what they said versus the guy that wrote the book who was flying in the most polluting
Meanwhile,
jet in
this
the
is
sky.
what happened when Bill Maher and I talked about climate change, which was fantastic.
Oh, this is
Rob,
my favorite.
Concerned about global warming? Or
No, that's some music. Music, is that music going to do anything?
Okay.
Okay.
Refresh it. Refresh it.
Sleep over it every
Yeah,
night.
because I heard music. I'm like, that's might not be good.
Go for it, Ron.
warming? Or is that a hoax in your world? I don't
I
know.
lose sleep over it every night.
You what?
I lose sleep over it every night. The warming of the globe.
I don't know whether you're being facetious.
Oh my God, I shiver every night when I go to sleep. Global warming?
I assume you're being sarcastic?
I would be very serious. Why would I be sarcastic? I mean, global warming is the #1 issue in the world.
Okay, good.
Do you agree with that?
I do.
Tell me why.
See, I think you do.
Trolling as well.
What a moment. What a moment.
Good for Deli. Deli edited that one.
Deli did
For
this?
Deli, boy.
Nice,
Yes.
Deli.
You're right. You're right, David. You know what? It's a
David.
big hoax because Al Gore has a big house and sometimes he leaves lights on in it.
Okay,
Oh my God.
okay. Bill Maher's such a dork.
No, they did. Someone did a compendium of all the climate studies. So, oh shit! What was your question?
He's so hot. He's so hot.
Close it, Ron.
Oh,
Yeah,
climate
he's so
change.
hot.
Yes. Very good.
You can stop it.
He was
Anyway,
stoned.
so that was interesting.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.